This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, you are good to start, Sam.
All right, so I'm a full stack developer. I've been working with full stack technologies for the past 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
The This I majorly work with are React on front end and its frameworks, and on back end I've used Node.js, Python,
Mm-hmm.
and apart from Node.js and Python, I've used frameworks like Nest.js for back end and Next.js for front end, and I use a lot of AWS services as well.
Mm-hmm.
And database, I work with MySQL, PostgreSQL, MongoDB, and DynamoDB from AWS. And I also use GraphQL and REST APIs. Built REST APIs, and some of the recent project that I'm working with is building conversational AI chatbots. That is with both React on the front end and Node.js and Python with Fast API on the back end. And
Mm-hmm.
we use NLP tool called Core.ai to build all our NLP flows. So that's my recent project. And previously, I worked on a project where we migrated entire monolithic architecture Node.js application
Mm-hmm.
into serverless application on AWS with TypeScript. We used a lot of AWS services there, like Lambda, API Gateway, and TypeScript, and other services like SNS, SQS, and everything to completely transform the monolithic architecture into serverless architecture. Apart from this, I've also worked on mobile application development with React Native. I touched up a little bit on Flutter as well.
Wow.
um, yeah, to summarize, so that's my experience to summarize.
Very nice. Very nice. What version of Python you have been working so far?
I've used 3.12.
3.2. Very nice. Uh, what is the concept of concurrency in Python? Or maybe
What is the
uh,
concept?
what is the concept of concurrency in Python?
So
Or maybe
concur
if I make it very simple, how do you handle concurrency in Python?
so concurrency is like it making parallel request.
Correct.
In other words, you can also say asynchronous request
Very nice.
to
Very
the
nice. Yeah. Okay.
we use it using async IO library
Correct.
in
Very
Python.
nice. Very nice. Uh, Tell me one thing before I move to next question. I have follow-up question on that. So, how do you handle exceptions in Python? What are the steps you take to handle an exception in Python?
So basically, we can handle exception using try catch blocks.
Very nice.
Except there are specific exception thrown for every errors.
Mm-hmm.
We can catch it globally with just catch exception, or we can catch specific exceptions and then handle those exception individually.
Okay. Very nice. And since you spoke about Fast API, I heard when you were explaining. So, how does this Fast API handle is async request internally?
So Fast API, actually, it is Python. Fast API is not doesn't have anything on its own, so it is dependent on Python. They,
Mm-hmm.
similarly, like I said, they have async IO packages, which we can utilize to build asynchronous and concurrent calls and logics.
Okay. Okay. How much you have been involved into databases? Like, have you written complex queries from scratch, or how? Okay. So to put it out there, how have you been interacting with databases?
So I've interacted with databases by writing raw queries as well as
Mm-hmm.
using ORM.
Mm-hmm.
um lot of time, majority of my work involved working with ORMs, like in Python I've used SQL Alchemy and SQL model. Coming to Node.js side, I've used type ORM,
Mm-hmm.
um, Mongoose for MongoDB. Yeah, I've used, and as well as I've used raw queries as well.
Okay, very nice. If I ask, there is a query written, which is a complex query, and imagine a situation that the there is a migration happening where the entire query is already written, or maybe in the new system you just need to optimize that already written, maybe stored procedures or complex queries, right? So what are the steps you will take to ensure that your query is taking lesser time? Basically, I'm trying to understand how will you optimize those queries.
So when we say about optimizing the queries, the main thing I could think of is join queries. That is where a lot of
Mm-hmm.
at the n+1 query problem
Correct.
occurs.
Mm-hmm.
When using ORMs, this is a main bottleneck that we need to solve. ORMs make separate queries to get the consequent data. So we optimize it by using join queries wherever possible, and we can also use cache
Mm-hmm.
instead of hitting the database to get the data. We can use cache to send back the already stored data. Yeah, these are few ways we can use to optimize the queries.
Okay.
And
Okay.
indexes is also a very
I actually
important thing.
wanted to hear this indexing part.
Indexes is the important thing in query optimization.
Okay. So how does this indexing help? Meaning, what exactly indexing does?
So, talking about databases, data are stored in pages, and indexing points to the pages, so where data are stored. So, when we make a query, instead of traversing through the entire data, the
Mm-hmm.
indexing helps us to point to a certain page where the data is stored. So, instead of traversing to the entire data, we just directly go to the page and fetch the data from the page where the data is stored. So that is how indexing helps. So it's like a front page for all the data all the data that are stored in the DB.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. If I talk about your exposure that you may have, you said that you did work on React Native applications also, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, how does this React reconciliation work?
So reconciliation, so React has this concept called virtual DOM.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever a change is made, React makes a copy of it. So it updates the virtual DOM instead of updating the entire DOM. So it updates the virtual DOM, compares it with the actual DOM, and see what has changed, and it only updates the changed value. So this process of updating the virtual DOM and only updating the change value is what we call as reconciliation.
Very nice. And when do you use memo and use callback and React dot memo?
So use memo is these are for to memorize function variables and a component respectively. Use memo is when you use to memorize a variable or a value. Use callback you use to memorize a function call, and you react.memo you use to memorize the entire component.
Okay. 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 Very nice. Uh, I think that's all I wanted to know. Okay. So, one quick question. You have an URL, okay? And now you put an URL in a web browser. How is that going to communicate with backend services? Can you just walk me through the steps?
So when you make a URL call or when you hit the URL, um, so first the HTTP protocol it communicates to HTTP protocol, so that makes a handshake with the server and the client. So once this handshake is done and verified, then we proceed with the request and the response is sent from the server. So basically, a pre-flight request is made to the server to check all the server configuration, the security issues, and if there are any cause issue, everything is checked. And if everything passes and the server responds with OK status, then the actual request is made to get the data from the server. When the server responds back with the data, it is being shown to the client.
Okay, very nice. Um, how and when you can make on-site interviews?
I am in Jacksonville, so I'll be available in during the weekdays to attend an on-site interview.
Okay. Okay. Okay, perfect. I think we are good. Let me go ahead and set up your interview as quickly as possible, and we'll keep you posted. Okay. Thank you so much,
All
and
right.
very nice connecting with you.
Yeah. Thank you.